Hey guys, Will here. Welcome back to Modeling from the Ends and Share. This will be episode 2 for the original series Enterprise 1/350 scale build. When I left off last time, I had done some work on the upper saucer section. I had filled in the windows on the BC deck with the microcrystal clear. Probably not the most ideal thing to do the way I'm doing it, fill it in and then sand it. But it'll work out as long as you take your time with it, don't rush it. You really have to let this stuff set up once you fill the windows in, at least overnight, if not a full 24 hours, because if you try to sand it too soon, this stuff will just start peeling and you'll get gouges in it and it just won't look right. So if you do go this route and use the microcrystal clear, fill the windows in. You do want the windows to at least be flush, if not just a little bit of a bubble above. Flush with the hull, because if you don't have it flush with the hull or at least a little bit above and you go to sand this, you'll end up with spots that the sandpaper won't touch, and you'll have a shine there and it won't quite light evenly. So you go this route, make sure that you get it level. What I've had to do sometimes, I'll go in, I'll let it dry, I'll come back and I'll notice that it's not quite flush. I'll take a little bit more and set it on there and let it dry again. It's time consuming. There are some better products out there to use for it. I know that over at TrekWorks, Boyd is using the Solar Res, and that seems like probably a pretty good deal, although it's pretty expensive from what I hear. Seems like probably a good replacement for this. A clear epoxy might be better suited for it too. Just got to find the right one. But like I said, I've been using microcrystal clear. As long as you let it set up properly, it'll work out fine. And we'll take a look at it. I did do the underside of the saucer, so we'll take a look at that as well and see how that's coming along. And like I said, I want to talk about the wiring for this kit in this episode, and the kit itself and some of the issues I've had. So give me a minute, I'll put you on the desk, we'll get to work. Alright guys, so we're all set up here. So one of the things I want to talk about is this lighting kit, which is the Polar Lights 1/350 kit. There have been a couple known issues with it, and I've experienced a couple of those. I'll tell you that right out the box, you see these groups of wires. You've got wires all over the place around here. I've got another batch of them down here. But the problem is these wires, once you take them out, they have these little stickers on them that identify them alphabetically. Well, a lot of the stickers had fallen off. I got 2 of them here, and there was 2 in the bag I couldn't even get out because they were stuck to the bag. But a lot of them have fallen off, and then some of them I even noticed had 2 stickers on them where they apparently came off of one line and got stuck to another one. So there's a little issue with you know, when you're trying to figure out which wires go where, you've got to kind of sort through them and try to figure out, well, these ones look alike, so these are all C's, and these ones look alike, these are all G's. So it's a little bit of a headache to try to figure that out. Some of these you only have one of and there's no sticker on it. It's like, well, I don't know what number that is, but hopefully when we look at the schematics, we'll be able to figure out which wires are which. And so there's been a little bit of an issue with that, and it says it's a plug-and-play kit, but I'm going to tell you it's not very friendly as far as a plug-and-play. When you get a plug-and-play kit, you expect to be able to plug everything up and it work fine. But the issue I ran into with this, and it was a well-known issue, was that the instructions clearly say match your red wire to positive terminal and black to negative terminal on your LED strips. So it comes with this roll of LED strip, and you're supposed to connect your using these connectors, you're supposed to connect the red wire to the positive and the black to the negative. And the way these things work is you just pull this little black part out a little bit, and red to black, you see it in there, and you push that black piece back down, and that just kind of locks it in place so this won't slide out. But when I connected these lights the first time, they didn't work. And what I found out was, and I only know this because I read it, if you hadn't read and you didn't know that this was an issue, you wouldn't know what the problem was. So that's why I say it's kind of hard to call this a plug-and-play kit when you have an issue with it like that. And my understanding is that Polar Lights is currently reworking this kit, and hopefully they fix that issue. But what I had to do was you undo it, and slide it out. You cannot flip it like this. This black bar cannot be across the top of the strip. So in order to wire this properly, you've actually got to take the other end, positives on this side, negatives on that side. You'll see the black, red, but this is the way I have to connect it in order for this kit to work. So once I figured that out, it wired it fine. Haven't had any other issues with it. As you can see, I've got this, put that back, I've got this upper saucer section lit up, and those windows are filled in, they're sanded. And a good thing about doing it that way is you don't have to worry about any additional light blocking once you sand those. It kind of does the light blocking, or not the light blocking, but it kind of does the light dispersion for you. And you don't have to worry about doing anything additional work to it. Some people put a coat of white behind it. Some people do there's other methods you can fill these in with white glue. I've heard people do. So one thing I'll say is if you get this kit and you put it together, it comes up with 2 control boards. One control board goes in the saucer section, and then you've got a wire that runs down, and this control board will go in the secondary hole. So you've got 2 different control boards. So what I did was I wired them up the way that they were going to be once they're put together. That way I know everything works properly. You don't want to just run one circuit and then you put everything together and all of a sudden it won't work. So my suggestion is wire this up before you put it all together. Test your lights out. Make sure everything's working before you go to sealing anything up. So right now I've got this board. This is my 12 volt, and this is the other reason I say it's not plug and play. You've got a couple connections like this. This is the one from the actual power cord into the board, where the recommendation is just twist the ends together. Now you can do that, but really you need to solder these connections. I would not just twist these together and hope they hold, especially there's a couple of there's a couple of connections that are going to be inside. I think the secondary hole or the saucer itself. I think it's inside the secondary hole. I wouldn't want to twist those together and rely on that twist to hold, because if it comes apart inside and after you put everything together, you're kind of out of luck on that unless you want to tear it apart. So you really do kind of need to solder these sections that it just recommends twisting together. I would not just twist them together and leave them like that. But that's me. So but anyway, after I got to this, you figured out everything's going together great with this kit. A couple other things I want to look at with this kit. It does come with clear parts. So you've got your shuttle bay parts come on these 2 trees here, which pretty much replaces this tree, which is the kit part. So I'll have an extra hanger bay hanging around. So we don't need that. We'll be using this because I do plan to light the shuttle bay. So I will. You've got this part that comes with the lighting kit that replaces the kit part. And then in addition to that, you've got your bridge that comes with the kit, and then the clear part that comes with the light up kit. So I'll be using this one, so I'll have an extra one, maybe in case I totally screw this one up, I can go back to this one. Excuse me. But we'll get this set up when I get to that part. I do have for that bridge, I do have the supplemental photo etch set from Paragraphics, which comes with all your bridge detail, and it also comes with some additional parts or detail for the shuttle bay itself, and it comes with some little people, all the little people, as well as some other parts. It does come with the decals for the bridge, but my good friend Cass over at Lake Monster Models hooked me up with a set of Lake Monster Models decals for the bridge. So the great thing about these, you see the kit that these ones come from, these are JT Graphics that come with the Paragraphics kit. And don't get me wrong, these are nice decals. They probably work out really well. You get a little bit extra though with these decals from Lake Monster Models. Cass actually broke these down into an A, B, and C. I think A is your production filming model. C, I think, is your second pilot. or B is your second pilot, C is your first pilot, which would be the cage. So he breaks those down. You've got your different doors, your corresponding doors with the different colored doors depending on which version you're looking at. So you get a little extra with this. You get your view screen, and then you get your choice of what you want to appear on the view screen. So I think I'll be trying those out, and I'll have this extra set in case I totally botch something. I don't have to bug Cass again for another set. I've got the other set that comes with it, so always good to have seconds to back you up on. In addition to that, I've got my engine grill kit came in for the 1350 from Paragraphics, and the good thing about this kit is you really don't. They've got templates for when originally when the 1350 came out. The windows on the lower section of the saucer, these three windows here, were in the incorrect spot. So they have these templates that they had put out with it. So I won't need those because this one is actually correct. So I won't need to do anything with that. But I've got my engine grills. These are all drop in place as far as what I can see from the instructions. I've got, it's got I think 3 different grills for the Impulse. Doesn't say one is specific to any version. It just says pick the one you like the most. This top one's got kind of a trapezoid shape to it. This one's just a square, and then this one's just wide open grills. So I guess, you know, depending on which one you like the best, that's the one you're going to use. Now, it comes with the grills for the back of the work nacelles. I haven't decided how I'm doing this yet. Most of you may know there's at least 3 different versions of the larger model. I think it was it 8-foot or 11-foot model. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not looking at anything, but there were like 3 different versions. They had the first version they built was for the cage, the original pilot. Of course, studio executives looked at that, they didn't like it, so they reshot the second one, which is Where No Man Has Gone Before. So from that first pilot to the second pilot, they redid a couple things. For one thing, the back of your nacelles, I believe, in the original pilot were just plain. There was nothing there. And the second pilot, they had these grills on the back. And then for the production run, they changed it to the ball, or the dome on the back, the white dome. So I kind of like the grills. I hadn't really decided which version I was going for, but there are a couple other things that changed too. The dome for I believe for the pilot and even for the second pilot, I think, was a little taller. When they go into the production model, they cut this down, they made it shorter. So it was a lower profile dome. Let's see, there were a couple other things that changed too. I think during the first pilot, the connecting dorsal, the neck, I think that was like a light blue, and they changed that as well. And there were some other differences that were made. I think there were some black circles around some of the lighting or something. And but there were some minor differences, but those were your major differences. The bridge dome was different, and your warp nacelles at the back ends were different. Oh, and then of course, you know, the buster collectors at the front changed. From just being, you know, like a red or copper colored with a spire out the front to being the actual lighted up buster collectors. So those changed. And then your navigational deflector dish, your deflector dish was larger in the first pilot, and then they reduced the size of that either in the second pilot or in the production run. So a lot has changed. You know, I kind of would like to go back and look at some of those older episodes. The only problem is the only episodes you can find streaming nowadays is the remastered version. And if you're trying to look at the remastered version for as a reference, it's a waste of time. Those are all CG. To my knowledge, they replaced every single effect shot with the original filming model with CG, or CGI, I'm sorry. And so everything you see in the remastered version of the original series is CGI. And I grew up watching Star Trek on a black and white television. And those of you guys that that can feel me, you know, it's I really hate the remastered version because it takes away everything I loved or remember seeing as a child. You know, the shoddy special effects, or the cheap ship special effects, I should say. You know, the old studio model. Even the opening sequence is totally different. I mean, it doesn't sound the same. So, you know, if anybody has any connections or knows where I can find the original unremastered or unrestored version of the original series, I'd love to see those, because it's just not, what they have on there now is just not the same as what I remember. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back to the model. So I've got this lit up, and you can see what I did here. The way I do my lighting on this. And this model is built for lighting. It's built for this kit. So it's really easy to put this kit together. Let me turn these lights off because it's probably blinding. But so what I do is I put the strips in place as they're indicated in the instructions on here. And but what I like to do is I like to use hot glue. I've got my hot glue gun. It's just a super bonder that I picked up from hobby or craft store. I don't remember. I've had it for a while. But I like to super glue the wires down so that they don't get moving around and block light or anything. And then, since I've heard of issues with these connectors coming loose, what I've done is I've actually gone in and super glued the ends together so they won't shift or move. And it also makes sure that the LED tape, if the adhesive starts to wear out, it's not going to pop off and all of a sudden it's laying down on the bottom half of the saucer and it's not lighting properly. So I've super glued, or not super glued, but hot glued all four of the corners. Like I said, to help make sure that these parts don't slide out, that when I'm moving around or if I'm pulling on the wire unintentionally when I'm putting this together, it doesn't just pull that part out and then I have no lighting. So that's what I like to do with it, is hot glue it in place, and it keeps them nice and neat. And one thing I'm going to say is I was really surprised. The only lighting for the upper saucer windows and the lower saucer that come with this kit is what you see here, as far as these windows in the middle. There's another strip that goes on the outside here. And it says you can, in the instructions, you can either put them in these little spots right here, or you can put them right in front of the windows if you want a brighter lighting effect. I don't really want to light it up too much because I'm only relying on these lights here reflecting off this white surface on the bottom to light the BC deck and the bridge. Although the bridge will have like 3 more LEDs around it when I put that in. So you will get a little more light from that as well. But for the most part, I'm relying on these lights here to reflect off the white paint that I put. That's why it's really important when you prep this, you do your light block, and that you follow up with a lighter color of white. Some people do silver. I've never tried that. I don't know how it turns out. But I've always used white and it's always worked out fine. But using that white reflects that light around, so you get a better lighting effect. So when I light this up down here, I'm actually going to put the light strips around here facing out. And I think that'll be plenty of light. I don't want it to be, any section to be brighter than the other. And I'm afraid if I put those lights directly in front of these windows in here that it's going to be brighter, noticeably brighter, at least brighter than the BC deck windows. So to avoid that, like I said, I'm just going to, I'm going to put my strip lighting around the side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on that. And we'll come back and we'll take a look at how it looks. Give me a minute, stay tuned. Alright guys, so I figured I'd just walk you through this because if you're having the same issue I'm having with the labels falling off these wires, it may be a little confusing. So to light up, and also I'm waiting for my hot glue gun to warm up so I can hot glue some of these wires in place. But so to light the lower section, for your lower section lighting, it calls for you to have I think it's 2 Ds, 2 Cs, and a G. So your Cs are basically your short wires with your ends that clamp onto the LED strips like this, your short ones, and then your Ds are going to be the same, but they're a little longer. So that's how you can identify those. So the longer ones are your Ds, shorter ones are your Cs, and your G is has this type of connection. The one going to your LED strip on one end and the other one that plugs into your control board. So that's how you can identify those. I also ran into an issue just now, and the reason why I decided to go ahead and record this to go over this is because on your upper saucer, you would need to, you've got these 2 single LEDs. You've only got 4 single LEDs in the kit. You've also got group LEDs that are all wired together. If I get it untangled, they look like that. There's several LEDs on one line. I haven't figured those out yet, but I think they're going to be pretty easy to figure out. There's only a couple places you use those. But your 2 single LEDs, so 2 of them, or your 4 single LEDs, 2 of them are these larger, the larger round LEDs that are flat on one end. Those are the ones you want for your upper saucer for your navigation lights. Okay? And it says those are M's, but the stickers had fallen off of all 4 of my single LEDs, so I had no idea which ones were which. So when it calls for your M's, it's these larger LEDs, and there's only 2 of them, and this is the only place you use them, with the flat end on there. So I got that figured out, and I've got those running. I'm just waiting for my hot glue gun to heat up so I can tack these wires down so they don't move, because it's just got these little clips. These little clips that they slide into, and they're not going to stay there. You're going to have to put some hot glue or some CA glue or something, but I like to use my hot glue for the wires. So mainly because, I mean, CA glue is not either, but it's not, it won't carry electricity, so it won't short anything out. But so what you do is you take your LED strip and you cut it. If you haven't used LED strips, you cut it at these marks here. So you've got 3 LEDs for each section. And I've already cut a couple of them out. And so what you want to do to connect these, now remember I told you you've got to connect the positive to the black, not the red. So what you want to do is peel back your adhesive here, your backing, because otherwise it'll get caught under the connector when you try to peel it off. So you peel it back just a little bit, pull that tab out, okay, and I'm talking about this black piece here, just pull it out, and then again remember we are connecting, this is the positive to the black wire. It just slides right on top there, and then you push that black connector down, and that's what locks that LED in place. Alright, and that's what we're going to do for all these LEDs. They're all going to connect in sequence. So your 2 shorter connecting wires go to the inside. So what we're going to do now is connect our other short wire. And again, remember black to positive. So that's our positive. So this just slides on top. Push that clamp down again. And you see how this one's shifted a little bit just from messing with it. That's why I hot glue these in place once I get them working. Once I get these set down, and you have to, I usually don't edit my video, but if you'll notice, I'm having an issue with my controller. It keeps losing connection with the camera, so I may be having to edit these a little bit. But that's the beautiful thing of video. You can always go back and edit. I usually don't like to edit my videos because if I make a mistake, I want you guys to see it. And hopefully you learn, and I learn as well from my mistakes. So again, we've got positive to the black right there. And we pull that clamp tight. And now we've got our 2 Ds that connect. So same thing again, we're going to pull this backing down. And I'm not too worried about the adhesive itself because we're going to hot glue. I'm going to hot glue these in place. So you know, if I mess the adhesive up a little bit, it's okay. So again, make sure we got negative. All right, now you see negative is on this side, so we actually need this end of the wire. And again, I don't know that this is an issue with every one of these kits, but I had heard that this reverse polarity, it's not necessarily that the polarity is reversed, it's the wiring is just wrong. So we've got that, and then on this end we'll connect the strip. Pull that connector out, and we've got the red wire on this side, which goes to our negative. So actually, I need this end of the LED tape. Because like I said, if I connect the positive to the red like the instructions say, it didn't work. So we've got negative, positive to the black. Push that tight. And now we've got another D wire. And let's make sure that's right, black, positive. Alright, so that's clamped. And two more. And normally I wouldn't do something this tedious in a continuous take on video, but like I said, I was going to cut over, do all this, and then cut back to it, but because of the issue with this kit, in case anybody has an issue like this, I just wanted to show you how to get around that issue. Plug that there, and then we're going to, it doesn't matter which end we do this on, I'm going to go ahead and connect our G wire, which is the wire that goes to our control board, which I got to point out something too with this control board. Like I said, one control board mounts in the saucer, and then you have another control board that mounts positive. See, that's, let's see here. It's actually positive and positive. Let's see if I got this backwards. No, that's positive. Negative. So actually I have to connect it to the other end, because on this end it would be wired up right. So let's get this one in place. So I guess it does matter which which end you do it on. So we got negative to the red, and clamp that down. Cut all my fingernails a couple days ago, and now they were growing back, and now I can't get to stuff like this. Alright, so yes, there we go. So that's negative to the red, and clamp that down. Alright, so we got our string of lights here. Let's plug this in. I remember J is to the main power. So it's going to be, this one needs to go here. And then for the lower is, I believe these are both G's. So they both connect. One's going to connect to here. Alright, so if we did this right, let's plug in our power, and hopefully we got light. And you see, as I said, that's connecting the positive to the black wire on the kit instead of the red, as the instructions say. So if I had done it the other way, I wouldn't have any light. So just keep that in mind if you have that issue and it's not lighting up. So we'll get these all in place. Take the backing off. We've got one that goes here. Now, let's make sure we get these down all the way. One goes there. And then we got don't know why we've got, need all that long wire there, unless that was for the front, but I've only got one of these left. So that's going to go around there. Figure out where all these lights are going to end up at. I may just have to double these wires over and glue them, and that's fine. Not a big deal. It's going to go right there. And actually, yeah, I can just hot glue that down right there. And then I'm going to go right here with this one. And right here with this one. This one, which is super long as well. Go right here. And what I'll do is I'll just hot glue these wires to where they're out of the way. There's no windows in these sections. All you guys where your navigation light's going to go there. So let's see if this hot glue gun's ready to go. Start by gluing this down. And that'll hold that in place. A little more on there. Make sure it holds it. Get these glued down, and then we'll test the lights again, make sure everything's making good contact. And while I've got the lights on, I'll hot glue these, make sure nothing slides out of place. And we'll be good to go. And actually, once I get this and those two nav lights done, we're about done with the saucer, except for I've got to do the impulse lighting, and I've also got to do that bridge. So I will work on that. Probably do that off camera because I've got some work to do on that bridge, obviously, before I can put that in with the photo etch and the decals that go in place there. All right, hold that one there. So the thing with the hot glue, you got to give it a minute. Once it cools off enough that it's holding these wires in place, then you can kind of let them go. Let's just hot glue that in place too. It don't go anywhere. The other issue with hot glue is too, it tends to string like that. You get these little strings on it, but they'll pull right off. It's not that big of a deal. Let that one cool. Do this one while I'm here. All right, and that's all I'm gonna do for now because I don't want a whole lot of time spent on camera, but you see the idea. You get the idea of it. Just I'll go around and hot glue all those in place. I'm gonna hot glue those two strobe or the two navigation light LEDs in place. And one thing I want to mention about this control board, the way the directions tell you to mount this control board is, and there's I guess there's a screw somewhere in the box I might have missed, but it wants you to screw this control board like this. Now, if you do that, the only problem with that is you're blocking these three windows here. If you can see those three windows. So what I'm going to do is, you have no windows on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hot glue this board, because again, the hot glue doesn't conduct electricity, so I don't have to worry about it shorting anything out. I'll I'm actually going to hot glue this board. A little hot glue on top of this. I'm going to hot glue this board right in place here. Put a little bit of hot glue on this edge since it's touching here. And that'll hold it in place and it won't block the windows, because these 3 windows here will get light from the LEDs on this side. So you won't have to worry about it blocking light, whereas if I mount it the way that the kit instructions say, you're going to be blocking these 3 windows here, they're not going to get light. So just want to point that out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to get these LEDs hot glued, we'll come back, put some power on, we'll see how we look. So hold tight, we'll come back. Alright guys, so I finally got everything wired up. I've got most of my wires glued in place. The only ones I don't have glued in place are I've got to put in my impulse deck back here yet, so I haven't glued in the 2 lights for the impulse engines. And then I've got my lower sensor dome that this light goes to, and then these lights here, once I get my bridge done, these all attach to the sides to help light up the bridge. So other than that, everything's lit up. Now I will say I ran into a problem. So I was talking about switching those strips around, and well, I got everything wired up. And you guys that have run into this problem already, that have done this kit and have had this issue, will be nodding your head about right now. So I got everything wired up, and when I plugged it in, only the LED strips worked. None of these, the nav lights, the lower sensor dome, none of the impulse lights, none of the individual LEDs worked. So I had to do some fiddling around and figure out, well, what's the problem here. I tried swapping the polarity around a couple times, and finally what I came down to was the simple solution. And I thought I had tried this already, but apparently not. I thought I had tried this when I first ran into the issue of the LED tape not working. But what you got to do is, instead of messing with any of the wiring in here, this is your light that goes to your plug. And what you have to do is connect the black wire from the plug to the red wire on the lead going to your first control board here, and then your red goes to your black. So you got to reverse those at this connection. And when I did that, everything lit up just perfect. So it actually, if I had, like I said, I thought I had tried that the first time, but apparently not. I gave it one last shot. I was about ready to give it up and just send an email to Polar Light and say, hey, this thing doesn't work. But and I look back at the instructions and I don't see anything in the instructions saying that you've got to reverse those connections. So yeah, so fortunately I was able to figure that out. So if you run into that issue, reverse your connections at that wire, that power wire that's going to your board. And everything lit just fine after that. You can see my nav lights are working. Everything's got power. I've just got to put in that lower dome, the bridge, and the impulse deck back there, and we'll be good to go. But you can see it's lighting up nicely. I guess you can see those nav lights blinking. Yep, there they go. And on the bottom, I haven't done any light blocking on these lights on the bottom yet, as far as I haven't put my masks on here and then done a primer coat. Primer coat is going to finish up. You might be able to make out, there's a couple of light bleeds, but the primer coat will take care of that. Just like it did on the top here for the BC deck. I had some light leaks there. You know, a couple coats of primer takes care of that. So, well, what I'm going to be working on now is, I made a mess of my desk, is I'm going to work on that, the bridge, the lower sensor dome. These are actually going to be my colored pieces that came with the lighting kit, is what I'm going to use for my navs. So except on the bottom, I believe those are clear. But I'll be using those, and so I'm going to I'll do some work on that, and that's going to be for the next episode, because I think this one's getting kind of long already. So, but anyway, I appreciate everybody that's been watching, everybody that's been subscribing. Welcome, subscribers new and old. Thank you for the support and signing up. Please, if you haven't subscribed already and you enjoy these builds and you find any information useful, please hit that subscribe button below. If you like it, give me a like at least. I appreciate all that. But it's coming along. So far I'm enjoying this build. Other than the little snafu with the lighting, everything seems to be coming along real well. So I'll do a little more work on this, and we'll come back next episode and see what we're going to cover. But until next time, keep modeling.